Picture a hunter, 3.5 feet tall, shorter than most 10-year-olds today. No metal, no bow, just a wooden spear and a group of people the same size as him. Now picture what he's hunting, an elephant. Not a full-sized one, a dwarf elephant. Still built like a tank, still 10 times his body weight, still capable of crushing him without even trying. This actually happened. For tens of thousands of years, on a single island in Indonesia, a species barely bigger than a toddler brought down animals that could have killed them in one step. And they didn't just survive doing this, they did it again and again, for so long that entire generations grew up never knowing a world without that hunt. This is the story of Homo floresiensis, the Hobbits, and how something that small pulled off something that big.
Let's set the scene. The island is Flores, dense jungle, volcanic ridges, rivers cutting through the lowlands, and in that jungle, Stegodon, a dwarf elephant species, evolved down to roughly the size of a large cow, but still massively stronger than anything hunting it. Giant storks stalking the open ground, Komodo dragons patrolling the same watering holes. This wasn't a safe place to be small. It was a place where being small should have gotten you killed. So how do you hunt something that outweighs you by a factor of 10 when you don't have the size, the speed, or the raw strength to win a fight? You don't fight it. You beat it before the fight even starts. The first move was picking the target. Adult Stegodon were nearly untouchable, too strong, too dangerous, too capable of trampling an entire hunting party in seconds. So the Hobbits didn't go for the adults. They went for the young, the injured, the isolated. An elephant calf separated from its herd for even a few minutes was suddenly a completely different kind of target, still bigger than the hunters, but no longer unbeatable.
The second move was the ground itself. Stegodon were creatures of habit. Same watering holes, same river crossings, same narrow paths through the jungle, day after day. The Hobbits didn't need to outrun an elephant. They needed to know exactly where it would be standing before it got there. Ambush points near water crossings, narrow gaps between rock and jungle where an animal couldn't easily turn or charge. These weren't accidents. Stone tools recovered alongside Stegodon remains at the Liang Bua site aren't scattered randomly. They're concentrated at exactly the kinds of choke points you'd choose if you were setting a trap, not chasing an animal down. The third move was numbers. One hobbit with a spear against a half-ton animal is a suicide mission. 6 or 7 hobbits, positioned on multiple sides, closing in at the same moment, that's a completely different equation. Wooden spears, sharpened and fire-hardened, weren't meant to kill in one throw. They were meant to wound, to slow, to force the animal into a position where it couldn't defend every direction at once. The kill wasn't a single moment. It was a process, dragged out until the size advantage stopped mattering. And then there's the part that almost sounds unfair: patience. A modern hunter with a rifle wants the encounter over in seconds. A hobbit hunting party didn't have that luxury, and it turned out to be an advantage. Wounded, cornered, exhausted animals make mistakes that fresh, alert ones don't.
At Liang Bua cave, archaeologists found stone tools and butchered Stegodon bones in the same layers, over and over, across tens of thousands of years. Cut marks on bone, tools clustered at natural ambush points. This wasn't one lucky kill that got mythologized. This was a repeated, working system, a hunting method refined over an almost imaginable stretch of time, because it had to be. There was no other food source on the island big enough to matter. And here's the detail that makes the whole thing stranger. Their brains were roughly the size of a grapefruit, smaller proportionally than a chimpanzee's, and yet they pulled off coordinated group ambushes against animals that dwarfed them, on an island shared with Komodo dragons that would happily eat the hunters themselves if the hunt went wrong. Small brain, small body, and still somehow the apex predator of that island for tens of thousands of years. It didn't last forever. Around 50,000 years ago, the fossil and tool record for Homo floresiensis goes quiet. Some researchers point to a massive volcanic eruption. Others point to changing conditions on the island, or the arrival of modern humans in the region around the same time. Nobody knows for certain which one ended it. Maybe all three did, together. What we do know is that a species that had solved an impossible physical problem for tens of thousands of years still eventually ran out of time. So the next time someone tells you that size is everything, that strength always wins, that bigger always beats smaller, remember the Hobbits of Flores, 3.5 feet tall, grapefruit-sized brains, and for tens of thousands of years, the smallest hunters on the island were the ones eating the biggest animal in the room.